swag out there and boss. Look, is that bow tie paisley?
And welcome to another episode of the Sartorial and Geek Podcast by Webster Style, where we talk about bow ties, comic books, and everything in between. I'm your host, Webster Style, the man, the voice, the fragrance, coming back one more time. And let's jump right into the download. Now, Microsoft has been a bit tepid when it comes to the game releases, at least last year in 2022. This year, they are looking to change those fortunes that output with really cranking out some hits. So this past week they had a developer direct where they showcased a bunch of titles, including the new Forza Motorsports, Elder Scrolls Online, as well as Redfall. But then there was another game from Tango Gameworks that they debuted, and this game is called Hi-Fi Rush, and it looks very much like it stepped right out of a Saturday morning cartoon, and surprisingly enough, it dropped that day. So they shadow dropped it, and I've been playing it, and it's absolutely amazing. So Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythmic adventure game from Tango Gameworks, which is part of Bethesda. You play as a wannabe rock star Chai, and you're a victim of a weird corporate experiment that's left you able to sense the rhythm of the world, the beat of the world, as part of the game's soundtrack. Now, it is very much a rhythmic based action platformer. I'd say it's very much like if you cross Jet Grind Radio with Devil May Cry. And I think it's absolutely the shot in the arm, or at least the first shot, the first salvo of a new first party title that Microsoft needs this year. It is absolutely, it's a great game from what I played so far, but it's one of those games where it's accessible to so many different types of gamers. But I think also just with the world that they built in this game, it is something that could spawn sequels, but also spawn other multimedia properties as well, anime, movies, comic books. I think this is something that Microsoft could really turn into a franchise if it is as successful as I think it could be. So I'm really high on Hi-Fi Rush. Of course, it's a Microsoft first party title, so if you have Game Pass, go ahead and download it. It's also, you can get it on your PC, PC Game Pass, or just buy it right on Steam. It's very affordable at the price of $29.99. So I definitely recommend Hi-Fi Rush. It's a game that I'm playing right now, and I'm definitely enjoying it. Next up, let's get into the short takes now. One of the movies that's a really big tentpole event that's based on a very popular franchise is Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. And they released the newest trailer, and if you don't know, this is starring Chris Pine as the lead. The newest trailer dropped, and I have to say, I am still not feeling it. It doesn't wow me. I think honestly, because we've gotten so many movies and shows inspired by Dungeons and Dragons over the pretty much my whole entire life. And then of course that one Dungeons and Dragons movie back in, was like 2000, 2001 with Marlon Wayans. Yes, that's a weird one. I don't know. It's just the theme of it. There is something about it that just doesn't grab me. It comes off as very generic in the way that is being delivered via trailer at the moment. It does a very good job of hitting all of those points that you expect from D&D, and that's cool. It's just something about the overall tone with the way they're presenting it that is just not vibing with me, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe if there's another trailer that comes out before the movie release, and I forget exactly when it comes out, maybe my mind will change. But right now, this is one I'll definitely wait for when it comes out on Paramount Plus. Since it's a Paramount picture, I'll wait for it to come out on Paramount Plus. This is not something I would rush out to the theater to see. As of right now, it doesn't appeal to me. Now let's talk about a trailer that, unlike Dungeons and Dragons, the second trailer is the one that really hooked me in, and that is Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Now, I am a fan of the first Shazam movie. I think that was probably one of the best movies of the DCEU, in my opinion. I have always been a fan of Zachary Levi, all the way back to the Chuck days. He's a fun actor to watch, and he's someone whom, if you know, pours himself into a role and is having fun in the role, and I can tell he's doing that with Shazam. Well, the first trailer for this movie was okay. The second one, though, that one, that knocked that bad boy out of the park. This is a movie that I want to see. I want to see the showdown with the Daughters of Olympus, I think, with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, which again, as two female villains, especially with let's be frank, Helen Mirren is old, Lucy Liu is older, aging. Those are not two age groups that you see as the main villain of a quote-unquote superhero movie. I'm excited for that demographic shift right there. I'm also looking forward to see how it works out, because there looked to be a lot of drama in this film based on the trailer, which you would not have gotten before. A lot of growing up of Billy Batson as Billy Batson and Shazam, and we're not just talking about physicality, we're talking about growth, becoming a man. It seems to be more of an allegory of that boy becoming the man instead of the boy inhabiting the body of the man. So I'm looking forward to that as well. That's why Shazam, Fear of the Gods is definitely one of the ones I want to see opening weekend. Next up is a movie that I just happened to stumble upon the trailer for online a few days ago, and it is We Have a Ghost, and it's actually a movie that is dropping on Netflix. And what caught me was when I saw the little preview for it, I saw Anthony Mackie. I'm like, oh, a new Anthony Mackie movie. Okay, let me click on it. That means it's not going to be half bad in my opinion. Oh, Netflix. Okay, so We Have a Ghost is about finding a ghost named Ernest haunting their new house, or a family finds a ghost named Ernest haunting a new house, and it turns Kevin's house and his family into overnight social media sensations. But when Kevin and Ernest investigate the mystery of Ernest's past, they become a target of the CIA. And this movie just came across as being so different. Like the twist that it took just in the trailer made me just very interested and wanted to see it. And then the cast is impeccable. Jennifer Coolidge is in there, Anthony Mackie, Tig Notaro, Faith Ford, and David Harbour is playing the ghost Ernest. And just what I saw there, especially with Niles Fitch who's playing Fulton, I am looking forward to seeing this movie when it drops on Netflix. It looks like it's going to be fun, and more importantly, it looks different than a lot of the things that Netflix usually puts out, and the story itself seems very different. It's some drama there, it's some sort of intrigue, there's definitely some comedy there with a pseudo Ghostbusters group from the CIA trying to capture Ernest. It was very interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to when this drops, and I believe it's dropping sometime soon if I just saw the trailer for it. Usually Netflix does not drop trailers for movies that release more than a month out, so I'm assuming to be available within about a month at the time of the recording and release of this podcast. So that's it for our short takes this week. Let's get into something that I spent quite a long time this past Saturday doing. That's watching wrestling, particularly the Royal Rumble. And I have to say that, one, it was long, man. Goodness, for only having three real matches on the card, it was long. We started off with the men's Royal Rumble. Let me tell you, in my opinion, I think that's one of the best booked men's Rumbles in a long time. All of the stories that they were able to tell in that match were amazing, from the Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley feud, you got Seth and Cody, you had Logan Paul show back up, you had that insane spot with Logan and Ricochet. It was even down to the end, and again, most of us knew Cody was going to win. It made sense, but they made it good for him and Gunther to be at the end. I have so much love and respect for Gunther Walter and what he is doing in the ring and the character that he is portraying. He is someone whom he's going to be champion one day, like soon, in the next 2 to 3 years. There is no reason for them not to put the belt on him, one of the belts on him, once they break it apart. Gunther is absolutely amazing. Imperium's amazing. And this is the thing. Can Gunther have a bad match with anybody? Can Cody really have a bad match with anybody? Cody, I don't know what it is about him in AEW, or maybe it's him being in WWE. He has something to prove, but yeah, he's been in limited matches since he's been back because of that injury. But Cody's delivered night after night. And I can't say that the character who he was compelled me in AEW like he is in WWE. And it has nothing to do with the booking, it has to do with him. Even his in-ring work is better in my opinion. So I don't know what happened there, but I definitely see a difference in what Cody is doing. But more importantly, just the match itself from beginning to end, I thought was executed so well. From the Judgment Day coming in and then Edge coming out and then brawling, like that was just the storytelling all throughout the match was just impeccable in my opinion. So I really want to give hats off to WWE Creative as far as that is concerned. After that, I believe we had the Bianca Belair, and I forget her name, match. Let me be frank with you, I wasn't interested in this. I love Bianca Belair, but I just was not interested in this match. I was on a delay when I was watching. I fast forwarded through this match. Then we had the Pitch Black match. I don't know, the Bray Wyatt thing. First of all, I was mad because LA Knight didn't get a chance to do his entrance, and I think that was more so for time. I was mad at that. I love me some LA Knight, Eli Drake. Yeah, dummy. Yeah, I love him. I've always loved him. I've loved him in Impact. I love him in NWA. I love him in NXT. I love him now on SmackDown, and he's one of the highlights of SmackDown as far as I'm concerned. This Bray Wyatt story, the slow burn is killing me. It really is. And I'm going to see it through because I have faith in what they're doing. But this ultra slow burn is killing me as far as my interest in this storyline. They got me back when they brought back the Firefly Funhouse. This Pitch Black match, it was short. It was okay. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't horrible either. But it was a gimmick match. There was nothing to write home about. It was just the end with Uncle Howdy jumping off of the stage into LA Knight and the flames erupting, and then you see the rest of the Wyatt Six up there and the Raptors looking on. Like, that was some creepy mess. Like, that was the highlight of the match, not even the match itself, because the match went on or ended way too quickly as far as I'm concerned. But I'm pretty sure that was a lot with time, because I felt like that men's Royal Rumble went on for a very long, I think the match itself was like an hour and a half plus. So I have a feeling they ate up some of the time and they were trying to get some back for the women's Royal Rumble. That one was not as good as the men's. I think the outcome was good. I liked the way it ended. But I think as far as the storytelling aspect is concerned, it was very scattershot. You had some really good storytelling in the ring when Damage Control was in, and the various feuds that have been associated with them over the past few months. But once Damage Control was eliminated, there was nothing. The weirdest omission for me is Beth Phoenix. Way back in the Men's Rumble, when you had Edge come out and Edge eliminated both Finn and Damian Priest. Yes, Dominic Mysterio was one of the last men in the Royal Rumble, which is really weird. But they were brawling on the outside after they all were eliminated. And then Rhea came out and attacked Edge. But then Beth Phoenix came out and speared Rhea. Great. You would assume that Beth is going to show up in the Women's Rumble. She did not show up. They got Michelle McCool to come out from the damn crowd. Don't get me wrong, Michelle McCool looks great. But there was no story there. There was no reason to have her there. You should have, realistically, Beth in to be one of the final ones to tangle against Rhea because of what's been going on in that whole storyline that they've been having with the Judgment Day and the back and forth there. That would have made sense. Instead of having Rhea and Asuka and, what's her name? I forget a little short, little blonde girl. I forget her name. I don't know. Gia, her name is Gia something. Anyway, whom I love as a wrestler. Her championship run sucked. I don't know. It's just something about, she's a great worker. It's just something about her that just does not compare when she's in the ring with Asuka and Rhea, particularly Asuka. And I think Asuka, they're trying to get her back to what she was in NXT because she came out in new face paint. From what I understand, it's more akin to the Kana persona in Japan, and I'm looking forward to that because I missed that Asuka so much. But there was just a lack of coherence. There was a lack of storytelling in the Women's Rumble, and that was my biggest disappointment about that. The action was cool, not as many spots as the men's. Overall, it was okay. Rhea was the one that they said would win. She won. I liked the finish. It was different, but she won. And now that sets up either her versus Charlotte or her versus Bianca Belair. And I feel like, haven't we seen her wrestle Charlotte? Didn't she lose the NXT belt to Charlotte? So she might go after Charlotte for some redemption for that. But I don't know, Charlotte just came back. Are they really going to take the belt off Charlotte that quickly at WrestleMania? Same with Bianca. I don't know if her title run has really been that spectacular right now. So they may take it off of her. I don't know. And then we had the main event, Roman versus Kevin Owens. And let me be frank, the match itself was good, but we all know, if you've been on the internet, the end of that match, the storytelling was Sammy turning on Roman, then him getting decimated, but then Jay leaving and turning his back on him. Like, the storytelling, the drama, I was like, that was the best part of the whole show. I have never seen a pay-per-view end that well in years. And the way that this Bloodline storyline is going is it's just a masterclass in long-term storytelling. So I'm excited to see where this goes. I know the Bloodline stuff started when Vince was still in charge. I get you. But with Triple H being in charge of creative, I want to tune in every week. I want to, and I'm talking about most of the storylines I care about. Now, the sad thing about it, this is the biggest thing with WWE. They have a very big problem with their women's division. There are no really good storylines going on with the women's division except for Alexa Bliss, and that's then still tied to Bray Wyatt and Damage Control. That is it. I could care less about any other female wrestler from the context of story is concerned. That's a big issue that they're having, in my opinion. And honestly, I think part of that is a drawback of the success of the Bloodline. You have something that draws ratings, that draws eyeballs, so you give it more time. As a result, there's less time for everything else, especially the women. So I think that's something that WWE needs to find a way to rectify, because in my opinion, it was very clear in the Royal Rumble that the women just are taking a backseat to the overall main storylines in the men. The only woman that's really shining storyline wise is Rhea, and then Damage Control. But even then, that's more of the faction, not so much of their feuding against any particular people. Mia Yim came in, Michin, she came in. Now because of injury, she's kind of out there in the mix. They keep teasing Sanity with Nikki Cross, which would be absolutely amazing. So we'll see how that happens. They're teasing so many things, but nobody has a cohesive storyline. Then you have the whole Lacey Evans is now a female Sergeant Slaughter, which makes sense for her background, but still it's funny and it sucks, but it works as a heel, so I can't really complain about that one. But yeah, but WWE has a really big problem with their women, and I think that with the lack of star power from Sasha Banks, I think they've really dropped the ball, because they don't. You got Charlotte, you have the man, Bianca's great. She's not a star yet. I hate to say that, she's not. They don't have any stars in the women's division. Even Ronda's booking was okay before she lost the belt, but the way she lost the belt sucked. It really didn't do well for her. They have neutered Shayna Baszler. She could have been, she used to be an animal, and now they try to get her back to that with Ronda, but then she's coming up being Ronda's henchwoman. So yeah, they have to go back to the drawing board with the women's division, and I hope they could correct it soon, especially if they are reinvigorating Asuka. But again, Asuka's not one on the mic, so I don't know. We'll see. But I have hope in Triple H. I trust with regards to the creative and the story. So we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we have the long-awaited trailer for Star Trek Picard Season 3. Let's trek out with Star Trek Picard Season 3. Now, the trailer dropped as of today at the time of recording, and I will say I was impressed. I'm looking forward to it, but again, with the way I feel burned by Picard Season 1 and Season 2, with regards to the trailers look really, really good. I was really excited, and you get to the season, it's like, what is this mess? Like, it was a convoluted CF, both seasons. And I'm hoping they don't do this with, you have a return of the Next Generation cast, and even Brent Spiner, who's now playing Lore and not Data, because, Data died officially in the first 2 seasons of Picard. Also, with the return of Moriarty, and I'm very much looking forward to that story, as well as this new villain. And there are Denise Crosby supposed to be there as well. There are some rumors that she's actually Tasha Yar, which I don't know how that is flipping possible, because she died, dead, or she is going to be her Romulan daughter, and I thought she died too. So I don't know who she's supposed to be, but if they bring her back as Tasha Yar, I'm going to be upset with that, because I just think that would be plain stupid. I think they have a better way of a better way of explaining her as her Romulan daughter returning than as Tasha Yar, personally speaking. But I'm not a writer. I'm not writing shows. I'm just a viewer with my Paramount Plus, and I'll be watching when it drops on February 16th. Now let's talk about fragrance. This week, for our fragrance of the week, we are looking at the newest release from Faire, and it's from their Public Offerings collection, and it is Ebonessence. It currently sells as an EDP concentration in a 50 milliliter volume for the price of $72. It includes notes of musk, jasmine, amber, peony, lotus, bergamot, ginger, and lavender. It is described as Ebonessence represents the varying complexities of love, the sensuality, comfort, and refreshing warmth of this perfume are due to the careful blend of florals and musk. Made for men and women, Ebonessence has less of a masculine skew than some of our other fragrances, but will smell wonderful on those who love Soul Cafe, Ascension, and our currently discontinued Signature. Now, this is one that I am looking forward to smelling. If you remember a few weeks ago when I talked about Camille, no, it wasn't Camille. It might have been Camille. Anyway, from one of the ones from Kirk Elliott, where I felt like it was very much a straight up unisex fragrance. This one gives me vibes of that as well, especially with the note breakdown. And just from the original Savoir Faire as well as the Sansanto and Sage, I am very much a fan of the house. I have never been disappointed with any of the fragrances I've had the opportunity to smell from them. So I am pretty sure Ebonessence will be one to remember, just like all of the other fragrances. Now, that's something I'm looking forward to. What am I wearing today? Surprisingly, I'm wearing something that is classic, something that is well known, and something that is, well, no one really wears it anymore. And it is none other than Old Spice. Yes, sirree. I picked out Old Spice today because there are some people in my life that actually like it when I wear it. So I wore it for them. If you're not familiar with Old Spice, definitely check it out. It's one that you can find at your local retailer. Make sure you get the actual cologne spray, not the aftershave. There is a difference. I found this bottle at Walmart. It usually runs for about, you're gonna pay less than $8. I think it's like less than $7, but I've had this bottle for like a year or two. So because of inflation, it may be around $8 now. Who knows? But that's what I'm wearing today, Old Spice. Now, I know that you take your time out to listen to the podcast, and I really, really appreciate the love and support that all the listeners give. But there are also other ways to support if you are so inclined. One is to become a producer via Patreon. We have 3 tiers: associate producer, and then executive producer at the $1, $3, and $5 marks. And each one of those have special perks that are only going to be available for those tiers. Then we also, if you're looking to purchase hair care products, but particularly I'm talking about the colognes, because that's what I'm a fan of. That's what I think that are really good value, and that's Pete and Pedro. I've talked about Villain. I purchased Villain with my own money, no kickbacks from the company as far as that's concerned, no discounts. I paid the $49 for that 50 ml, and it is a fragrance that I absolutely love. It's great for the winter, and I am recommending that if you're looking for fragrances, you aren't trying to break the bank, definitely check out the line from Pete and Pedro. Their line of 5 colognes or fragrances are inspired by well-known designers, so you can definitely get a lot more bang for your buck. And using the code EHawks10 or the link in the show notes, you can get 10% off your first purchase. And then one of the things I really hate about energy drinks now is that they're very much like soda. You have a lot of different ones now, but there are more and more that are specifically geared toward those that are a bit more health conscious, those that are a bit more want to know what's going into their bodies, and wants more of a natural sort of energy. Now this one isn't totally natural, but it's no rock star, I put it that way. And this is W Energy Drink, and you can get 10% off your first purchase by using the code WebsterMan in checkout or at checkout. And you can, or you can use the link in the show notes as well. Now, you can find me a whole lot of places on the web. And starting this week, there's a brand new place to find me. You heard me talk about the Royal Rumble, and you've heard me talk about wrestling on this podcast over the years. Well, I'm branching out with my man Kuya P and Sean Mangold all over at the NRW, and we've launched the new podcast, Kayfabe Baby, the NRW Ring Generals podcast. So you get your weekly take on wrestling from us every week over at the NRW, as well as, of course, I'm still going to be with my man Brian Sav talking about this week's releases in gaming over at the NRW Checkpoint. Make sure you find me on socials at Instagram or on Instagram, Sartorial Geek and Webster Style, Twitter at Webster Style, TikTok at _Webster Style, and of course, find anything and everything that is Webster Style at Webster.com, and of course, drop us an email, info@WebsterStyleMagazine.com. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your listening ear, and of course, remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
No, it was Tree Green Tuesday. Had to be Bow Tie Thursday. Had to be White Wednesday. I don't. Well, I know last time. Well, I wore polka dot. You didn't wear.
Miss Million, them hills killing them, but I'm sure it's a Thursday. Bow tie Thursday, pasta cream in your heels, looking sharp, babe. Acting like you don't know the rules up in the workplace. Must I remind you it was till on your birthday? Don't get me wrong, I think we killed in the birthdays. And you picked the hella fit for the church day. Let's say you picked the risk game poet. Now you got the floor filled with bras that you purchase. Pick a color scheme that can match the berry corset. Get the berry cream. Get the berry cream, get the berry cream, we gon' make a little scene. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. And see what it seems. If it is what it seems. Do it again. Chicks be looking thick in leggings, you know what I mean? I don't know. Take a hint though, don't try to get me at a moment. Mint though, smoking hot, rocking this pin so thin. Tie hairline, looking like a stencil. Pimp, no lie, I'm sharper than a utensil. Instrumental, plain dang, homie. I was hoping we could walk out with that bang bang, honey. See them plain James, honey. Them lame frames, funny. We tell it fit it crazy like that thing came on me. Hey, mommy, look a lady, main thing. Want me on the scene, fit popping like a main vein, running blood color lips, smashing with the hand clutch, money holding back. Kinda funny, can you tell me what's the price tag of the Range Rover? Hang on me when we walking, looking Gucci like that thing sprayed on me. Walking with a limp like an ankle sprained on me. Yeah, I rock the cardigan, she don't really want me because one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it off and let me see what's under them seams. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams. Hey, let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Ain't mopping on the middle of my lawn. Ain't mopping on the middle of my lawn. Cause no one man should have all that styling. Take it off, clothes on the floor piling. No one girl should fit it all in them jeans. So take it up and let me see what's under them seams.
Oh, you wanted to? Oh, I completely read that wrong.